No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen.
Clap it up, Dan. Clap it up, Dan. Clap it up, big guy. Because we're coming in hot. All three Triple P boys won over 1,000?
Oh, I didn't win that much.
All Triple P boys coming away with hundreds, if not thousands of dollars in winnings. Whether you were betting with Alex on his sheet, whether you were betting with Dan on his sheet, whether you were betting on me with my sheet, which recorded $2,000 in winnings, you won money this weekend. Clap it up for yourself if you won money this weekend. Clap it up with us. All three Triple P boys, Triple P certified, won money this weekend, guys. We're going to break it all down and talk about the parlays you won. I'm going to get into mine right away. I actually posted mine in the Patreon open bets sheet moments before the fight started when I realized Alex and Dan had a lot of similar picks, and I wasn't tailing either of them despite my picks being very much different than theirs. So I was like, let me tail Alex, let me tail Dan's. And I tailed Dan's picks and actually won some big money. I know Dan did too. Dan, tell us how you're feeling coming in off a beautiful winning weekend. Finally broke the Bambino curse.
Broke through, man. Finally broke through. Last couple of weeks, I've been getting up to that main event spot in good positions. For one reason or other, it would fall through or I would win, just a marginal amount of money. Finally got a big one. It's been a while. It feels good. It feels like I'm going to win again next week. So, forces in motion, stay in motion, all that good stuff. So I'm just happy to be on the winning side of things. And as far as just straight picks, got only one wrong. Now, that's up for debate. I did pick Nurmagomedov on the show. However, game time decision did switch it up. For all you paying customers out there, it was on the sheet. Whether I get credit for that switch to Dos Santos, that's up to the good folks on the YouTube channel and the Patreon. So I leave it up to you guys. Put it in the comment whether you think I should get credit on my score here. Boost that thing up to around 75% or so. It's up to you guys, but either way, incredibly
No credit for that. We have a precedent set, Dan, and what is said on the show is what goes, and that is final. And that's hey, listen, I've been burned by it. Luke's been burned by it, and now you're taking your own lashing right now. Yes, you were correct, but only the Patreon customers, the paying customers got that information, and that is why you need the Patreon. Patreon.com/perfectparlaypursuit, where you could have found out Dan had a last-minute audible, realized that he was wrong. So let's go.
So Dan texted me officially Saturday, 5:25 p.m. So we were exactly 35 minutes before airtime, exactly 50 minutes before first fight kickoff, if you will. And Dan said, officially switched to Dos Santos, which I'm assuming Dos Santos. Okay. And then I said, yeah, my weigh-in eyeball test tells me close fight where the Russian loses and feels he won.
Yeah.
What happened? That is exactly what fucking happened. So I actually was feeling a little bit weary about Nurmagomedov as well. But once the fight started, the initial minute, I was like, he's going to get this. But then it just started looking like the same old story, same old song and dance from these Caucasus region Russians who just don't really seem to care as much as they say they care about this shit, right? Like you see, it just seems like a lethargy. I don't know. So anyway, I told Dan at first, I said, Dan, that's not going to fly. I said, I didn't know he wanted credit in his record for the switch. But if we do award Dan credit in the records, what it will do is it will un-Triple P certify Abubakar Nurmagomedov, who we Triple P certified on the show. And that would make Triple P certified picks 4 out of 4 instead of 4 out of 5. So we Triple P certified Damon Blackshear as an underdog. We Triple P certified Nurmagomedov, as I said, who lost. The only one who lost. Silva, easy one. Caceres and Albazi. So Albazi called a good bounce there. We'll get into it. But 80% Triple P certified picks. Could be 100 if we decide to, I don't think we're going to decide. For the records have to be what we said on the show at the end of the day. It's good for the Patreon audience that you were able to do that. But 10 out of 12 isn't so bad, Dan. You only got 2 picks wrong.
I'll take it.
Malarkey, a gigantic favorite, which, a UFC newcomer coming in on short notice to take on, a guy who's a divisional mainstay in Jamie Malarkey. Who would pick Namath? I would. That's who. I picked both Tajik fighters, went 1 out of 2 on him, got Namath, the gigantic underdog. Wish some of the parlays that had him on them hit, but a couple of those went down. And Jamie Malarkey, I was on an island by myself with Namath, but I was very confident in that. And almost, it was one of those line never lies kind of things. It was like, Jamie Malarkey is not a minus 500 fighter. You can't take somebody who's the biggest underdog on the card and then make them the biggest favorite unless you're really serving them up a fucking shitty-ass newcomer. You know what I mean? So I knew Namath was not that, and I knew he had a whole arena of people watching him, and this was going to be his put up or shut up, show or go moment, and he went. So great pick there. I want to talk about these fights because there were some really good ones and some really controversial ones. A lot of people say the main event was controversial. No fight was more controversial for me than the Yu-Frey fight. I was on an island by myself with Jin Yu-Frey. It's a fight where you got 2 absolutely shitty fighters who you don't want to pick either of them. It's somebody who it's 2 fighters everybody on this podcast would love to bet against, right? These 2 picked Elise Reed. I thought they were out of their fucking minds. Elise Reed is a white belt, has no takedown defense, does not even try to get better, is a plain Jane, Sarah Plain and Tall, absolutely stinks at the sport. And it pains me to say it because she's from New Jersey. But my Jersey Desert Rose, my beautiful shining star of New Jersey is one Aaron Blanchfield, cold-blooded Blanchfield. So move over. I don't even care. Elise Reed, you're not the Jersey rep. It's Blanchfield. And the fact that Elise Reed was like celebrating that win, it's like you fucking lost that fight, first of all. Got dominated in all the ways you've been proven to be able to be dominated in by a 40-year-old. And it's like there's nothing to be there's no victory here if you're actually celebrating this. If you're not looking at this like Tim Elliott looked at his win, then what are we even why are we here? Because you don't learn from that type of shit. So,
yeah, Luke, but you also don't learn from pissing on. You also don't get out of that by pissing on Dan's grave over here just because of the Jin Yu-Frey loss. You turn around as soon as Jamie Malarkey loses and want to play heel. You want to turn heel on us. You start breaking bad.
Said that's what you fucking get because I said that's what you guys get for celebrating that bullshit Elise Reed win. You fucking get your boy knocked out. Your masked Rocky Dennis looking idiot gets smashed, stomped out, and brutalized. And dude, Jamie Malarkey, he's so pesky. He's a pesky fighter, right? The kind you love to bet on. But in this matchup, what I think more fighters need to realize about these pesky type fighters like Jamie Malarkey is that he only looks like he's got a rock head. He actually doesn't have that good of a chin. You know what I mean? So just hit him because he's there to be hit. You know what I mean? Hit him in the fucking face. It's there to be
That's
hit.
the name of the game for this sport.
He's got a lot of face, though. He's got a lot of face on him. You know what I mean?
He's got a long face.
Whereas you say Floyd, his head is too small. This guy, his head is too big. But here's why I was so salty. Let me share my screen. And just a little preview for the folks who are not currently in the Patreon. This is what my open bet sheet looks like. It might look a little confusing, but it's pretty straightforward. The fights are listed here. The amount that I'm betting is listed here. And the parlay size is listed at the top. I list them all out, and I add to it as the fights are going on. And as fights lose and drop off, I put them in the graveyard below. So you see here which fights caused me to lose. And if you look, Jin Yu-Frey was the only person to lose on this parlay. $10 for $7.4 thousand. Jin Yu-Frey was the only one to lose. Linz, Blackshear, Yu-Frey, Namath, that's what bumped it up the most. I skipped Gaffarov on that one. It's one of the only ones I didn't put Namath with Gaffarov. Dontel Mays, which I didn't even pick on the podcast. I just threw in because I saw the weigh-ins, and I was like, yeah, Arlovsky's mad old, dude. Santos, Silva, Elliott, Caceres, Albazi. This one right here. 10-fight parlay. 10 to win 7.4 thousand. If Jin Yu-Frey got the nod, that one would have won. Now, I would have probably cashed out for 4,000 in the main event or something, but I'm just saying. What I ended up doing, the ones that did pay off, guys, you can see if you really add up all the bets I did here, $5, $10, 10, 33, 150, 25, 10. The 150 was actually a free bet. FanDuel had a thing, max deposit bonus. You deposit $150, they match your deposit bonus with a free bet of the same amount. So I just deposited 150, used that for most of my bets, used the free bet there. But if you want to count the free bet, it was 248 out, 308 total if you count the 50 and the 10 that I won on. So a $300 bankroll turned into, if you let it ride all the way to the top on the 9-fight parlay, a $1,400 parlay. I think it was like $1,475, and then a $660-ish parlay between this 4-fight parlay. So I cashed both of these out halfway through the Albazi fight when I saw the stat flash on the screen that said he was actually behind on the strike count. I thought that round 1 and 2, really nothing happened. I thought you could give Albazi the nod for forward pressure, but ultimately didn't know how the judges were going to score 1 and 2. 3, I wanted to give Albazi big, right? But then he kind of botches it in the third there, and the judges were going so wild with like the Jinyu Frey fight and giving it to Elise Reed in the moments that she had on the feet and stuff like that. It was a minute of Kai on top and pounding. I was like, they might give him that fucking round. Then I saw we're going into round 4. They flashed the stat on the screen. Kai's doubling him up in strikes. And I was like, they were still offering me a cash out for 50% at that point. So I just took them both. I took all of them. I took 330 or so on the 600 one, and I took 700 on the other one. And I had a hedge bet on Kai and I let that one stay. You know what I mean? Because at that point I was like, well, if I'm hedging out the Albazi ones, I'll just let the Kai hedge ride, you know? And that cash out was going up. It started out like $100 bet. They were offering me 75. But as the cash out for the Albazi parlays were going down, the Kai Car France one was going up. So I'm taking all this into account. I'm saying I could either leave with an extra, $1,000 tonight, or I could leave with nothing trying to chase 2. So I said, I'll cash out. Ended up with about $1,100. Not proud of it, but the reason I'm forgiving myself is because they were Dan's picks. They weren't even my picks. So Albazi was my pick, and I was very confident in him, but I acted on the data I had at the time. I made the play with the information I had at the time, and I profited. Alex, you won some money too.
Decent amount. Damon Blackshear, an absolute masterclass. He is going to be an issue. Yes, I think he lost to the Snow Leopard. What's that guy's name? Javid Basharat.
Yes.
But Javid Basharat's really, really good. And I think Damon Blackshear really worked on his grappling. I mean, it showed in this one. He was in some dangerous and precarious positions and did what Luke. Yes, by curious positions. Yeah, so he was in some bad spots, ends up getting the finish. What Luke has always said to do, somebody's playing around with your legs, just punch him in the face a bunch of times. Worked out this time. Damon Blackshear's a beast. Abu Bakar really sunk a lot of my parlays. I had a solo on Damon Blackshear. Abu Bakar really sunk a lot of my parlays. I was a little sour about that decision. Didn't necessarily agree with it. Got into a little disagreement on the Discord over it as well. Andre Arlovsky. I actually bet on Andre Arlovsky during the fight. I was like, he's looking sharp. He's looking good. I probably bet on him 5 seconds before he got knocked out. So that wasn't the best judgment call either. The Jamie Malarkey one wasn't good. Maxim Grisham sunk a lot of ships early, so we were able to rebuild a little. Jim Miller with the KO. Guys, I did not see that coming whatsoever. Dan read it like a book. He believes in Sparta, New Jersey. Is that where he's from? Sparta, New Jersey?
Yeah. Yep.
This is Sparta, baby.
I mean, Alex, Jim Miller keeps doing this with these young guys who they send in to debut against him. He keeps getting it done like this. And, I picked Jim Miller on the first show we did against Gordon just because I was like, Gordon's coming in off a knockout and Jim Miller has that fucking dynamite in his hands. Say what you fucking will, dude, about his age. I'm looking at the man. He's fast. He's explosive. He's still got it, dude. And maybe he doesn't have it for 3 rounds, but he said it himself. He goes, when guys can slow my pace down, they can win a decision. But good luck. Good luck getting past that opening fire.
Hell yeah. Jim Miller is the absolute man. Johnny Munoz Jr. in my graveyard, in my gambling graveyard. I will never, ever, ever leave my money in the hands of a Johnny Munoz, a guy whose name's Kid Karate, Kid Kempo, whatever the hell his name is, has boxing gloves on in his Tapology picture, sits there and pulls guard for 3 rounds, going for arm bars from the back like he's Jinyu Frey, Elise Reed, like he's in that league of fighting. No way, Jose. No way, Johnny. You are out of here. I'm never betting on you again. I think you should be cut from that performance. Cut him. Get him out of there. He's not ready for this. Anybody who's pulling guard is a moron. You just watched a Gracie. You just watched a fucking Gracie pull guard and be unsuccessful against a stand-up fighter. And you think that you're going to just pull guard on a Brazilian and he's going to just let you let you throw up your little arm bars and shit. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Jiu-jitsu is useless without wrestling. Don't come in here and pull guard. Next guard puller should be cut during the fight.
I don't mind a guard puller as much as I mind a butt scooter, man. He was butt scooting.
Oh my gosh. Exactly.
I mean, and the thing is, I actually kind of admired Munoz Jr. just because of that initial nut shot, continuing to fight. The second nut shot, guy was kind of also like, these refs need to be a little bit more sophisticated about the eye gouging and stuff. It's not necessarily a gouge that even matters. It's kind of like when they're like covering up their mouth with their gloves and they like brush against their eyes, like you could just kind of scratch somebody's like eye easily with your fingernails or the part of your glove or with like a calloused part of your finger. You know what I mean? Like you can easily do that. So I think like there was a lot of movement around Munoz's eyes. I'm not as I think he fought like an idiot. You're totally right, but yeah, if you're from California, you know, Huntington Beach or whatever. The one thing I like about Johnny Munoz Jr. is that I heard he was his dad trained like Rampage Jackson, Tito Ortiz, you know? So just imagining him as a youngster around Tito Ortiz. I have to forgive a little bit of his judgment errors because he, during an early stage of his life, was brought up and reared by a one Tito Ortiz.
You'd think you're hanging out with the king of ground and pound enough, you'd learn a daggum takedown.
And you know what's so funny, Alex? You look at the Damon Blackshear fight, you look at the Johnny Munoz fight, and then you look at the Karen Silva fight, and you say, wow, a female fighter in the UFC actually came in and displayed competency, ring IQ, and all-out skill above and you know above and beyond these male fighters. She goes in there, and what does she do, Alex? What was the key? Why do I like? I'll pose this to you. Why do I like Karen Silva's leg lock, and I don't like Damon Blackshear's opponent's leg lock attempts? Why do I hate Ryan Hall, but I love Karen Silva? Why?
Because she broke her leg.
No, because she got one important thing before she broke her leg: position.
Position over submission.
She pretty much had her mounted. She was on top of her. She dropped back for it when she secured it. And if need be, could have reclaimed dominant position or at least escaped and gotten out. She wasn't rolling around like a worm or a floppy fish.
Yeah, no.
She wasn't playing night crawlers in there like Ryan Hall.
Night crawlers. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but Karen Silva, an absolute menace. She is going to tear through the women's division. She's going to make mincemeat of Mackenzie Dern. She will take Mackenzie Dern and change her entire life. She's going to show Mackenzie Dern what's good, Pa.
I hope she keeps ruining careers too. I think more people need to start ruining careers. Take your opponent out of the fucking game. Don't even let them. I think it was Nick Machiavelli who said, a man should not take vengeance, but if he does, let it be so forceful and destructive that his opponent's vengeance need not be feared.
Luke, you're over here bitching about the possibility of a glove going to the guy's eye, lightly grazing it, and you want to end careers by popping out their fucking kneecaps.
That's legal.
Yeah, I guess.
This time it's legal.
It's just something that isn't adding up for me here.
Eye pokes aren't legal. Now, if you want
it's not an eye poke. It's not an eye poke. It's an accidental graze of the glove. You want guys getting
thumbs in the eyes when they're on the fucking full mount, say the word. I'll put it in the call. I'll call a congressman, but I'm not going to advocate for that until I at least get the things I want first, which are knees to the head of grounded opponents. I think that's reasonable. There's precedent set in other organizations for that. I want all elbows allowed, including 12-6.
Soccer kicks.
What?
Soccer kicks.
Soccer, well, that is implied. Knees,
okay.
Knees and kicks to a grounded opponent. That would be.
I would love to just see.
I would forgive everything else. You know,
I would love to just see Aljamain Sterling go into that position in ONE FC just once, just one time. I would love to see him get in that position, even against somebody like Adrian Moraes, the guy who fought Demetrius Johnson thrice. I would just love to see him get in that position and Adrian Moraes punt his head into the third row. I would love to see that.
He'd be like Lucy with the football. He'd be like, whoop! And then he'd rise like Charlie Brown, baby. Come on. All right, so real quick, let's just go through the rest of the fights. Dan, you want to take us through the parlay that you hit?
Yeah, sure. So very, very simple week.
And everything?
Yeah. So normally my strategy is, rapid fire, just Uzi it. 20 different parlays, all different kinds of variations. This week, I mixed it up. I did my perfect parlay, which again was one off. If it weren't for Jamie Malarkey as a minus 430, we're looking at a $6,000 payout, something like that. Nonetheless, my other parlay, which was successful, let's see, we got 6 here. We got Blackshear, Reed, man. That's a gutsy pick looking back on it, putting Elise Reed in my only parlay. Santos, Dos Santos, Elliott, and Caceres. I've been burned so many times with the main event, just being in a position to not hedge where I would not win enough money to justify it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go one down. I'll go with the co-main event as the head of my parlay. Caceres, I'm very confident in. I won't have to really do much of a hedge at all. If maybe like a couple bucks just to break even. Only spent 50 in total on the entire night. So yeah, very simple, straightforward. I think I spent like 23 bucks on this one. Ended up winning 750 bucks, somewhere around that ballpark in total at the end there. So very successful night. Again, I'm feeling good going into this next pay-per-view with Nunes and Aldana. They're going to ride this wave, baby. Let's go.
And you see there's different betting styles and strategies. Alex does a lot more solo plays, a lot more smaller parlays with medium amounts of money. I do a lot of big parlays with small amounts of money and a couple big bets with small parlays or solo bets. Dan traditionally will do his perfect parlay and then only a few others. So, he's won over $700 in this one. Yeah, he might have been on a dry spell for 5 or 6 weeks, but when he's betting less than $100 per week and then hits this $700 payout, it really does make up. He told you he bet less than $30 this week. So that's par for the course for Dan.
Dan's Uzi play can go anywhere from little Uzi vert to little Uzi dirt. He puts all these little Uzi plays out there, but apparently he trimmed down the size, and now he realized that might be the way to go because he just won, Luke. You can't be shooting for the moon, Yeah,
he hasn't done the
you can't be shooting for the stars. You're gonna end up on the moon.
I've been slowly but surely cutting them down to size. I would do like 30 parlays, then down to 20. Recently, I've been like, hey, let's do what I actually think is going to happen instead of saying, every single possibility I'll have covered. Like, no, what do I think is going to happen? Maybe diverge from that, like for 1 or 2 parlays, just in case something bad happens, and go from there.
And when you're worried about what's
successful this week, I'm going to ride with this momentum again for next week. Same strategy.
And when you're worrying about what's going to happen, forget about the odds. Don't worry about the odds. Worry about what's going to happen, Dan.
That's
a wise man once said that, and then ripped it off.
All right, so we should probably just talk about the main event and then get into next week's card. There were a lot of good fights. We talked about most of them. I thought that the main event, obviously, my thoughts on it. I obviously thought Kai was edging him because I cashed out. So, but again, I don't think it was as absurd as some of the decisions I've seen lately. It's a 5-round fight, and a lot of people are saying that they could see it being 3-2 Kai. So that means that and then those same people will tell you that rounds 1 and 2 were very close. So it's like, okay, so you're admitting that it could have gone either way because you're saying that you saw it 3-2, but you saw one of those 3 rounds that you gave to Kai being very close. So if it goes the other way, then the other guy wins. Now, what they have the problem with is the judging based on the rounds, the inconsistency, the fact that some judges will give rounds that were obviously for one guy to another guy. There's some inconsistencies there, right? But overall, it kind of still comes out even in the end when you're considering that what you're talking about is a 3-2 decision where you yourself are admitting one of those 3 rounds you claim this guy won was very close. It sounds to me like we're saying the same thing. It was a close fight. It was a split decision. It was, I don't really think that the UFC is in cahoots with the judges, but I do think sometimes the judges, like with Patty Pimblett and with other people, in the back of their mind have a subconscious idea of who should win the fight. And then that plays a role into a close round. They go, well, I don't really know, but the back of my brain, a part of my brain I don't even know is talking to me right now. My subconscious is telling me that coming into this fight without me even realizing it, I thought Patty was supposed to win. I thought this was a fight he was supposed to win, so I'm giving it. You know what I mean? I think
the judges aren't faultless. They have fighters that they probably like. They have fighters that they probably dislike as well. They are human
And there
beings.
probably is corruption. And there probably is corruption too, guys.
Yes.
I'm not saying there's not corruption. I'm just saying that it is a piece of an overall human error kind of problem.
I mean, I think the problem is all these crybabies in the Discord who will, when there's a split decision that goes their way, they're like, "Oh my gosh, dude, that was complete domination. How could you have thought the other guy won?" And then there's a split decision that goes against them, and they just whine and cry and be babies in the Discord, and then get upset with other people when they think a fight is close. Like these guys in the Discord. Oh, I'm at my wit's end with them. Let's just
Alex,
say that.
Man up and drop some names. Who are these?
I was on solo dad duty all weekend, so I wasn't as active in the Discord. We don't need to drop names. Don't give them the attention they so desperately crave. But I will.
They don't even watch the episodes anyway. They ask me who the fuck I got before the fight starts, and I'm like,
the crazy thing is that we have a lot of people in the Discord who seemingly don't watch the show. So anyway, guys, we want to talk about UFC Fight Night, Vettori versus Cannonier. So the big reason I think we had a lot of success last week is because we went over that card twice. And I think that's it's like school, right? If you study something, you're going to do better. If you study it again, you're going to do even better. So I think that this new strategy, since the break week, we have been a week ahead. I mean, we gave everybody our early picks for Albazi versus Kaikar Friends when no one else was giving picks on the break week. We came back and we did it again. We broke them down again. And then we broke down Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana for you. So that video already exists. We already went through Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana with a fine-tooth comb last week. That video is on YouTube right now. You can go watch it. I'll throw a link to it in the description below. But only, I think, 2 fights have dropped off that card. I don't think anything has been switched or added or changed. So we'll still go through it again for you. If you really want to see us go through that again, we will. We'll do it on the Patreon. We're going to go through the whole card yet again, let you know what our thoughts are, what has changed, what we're sticking with. And overall, just get a second look. But for now, we're going to stay ahead while we are ahead, and we're going to get into Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier, UFC Fight Night at the Apex back in Vegas on June 17th. So that's going to be not this Saturday, but next. We're going to break that whole card down, early predictions, top to bottom, all 14 fights for you, main card and prelims for free here on the YouTube. And then we're going to break down Amanda Nunes yet again on the Patreon. So for those of you who are saying, I love the show, I want to hear what you guys are thinking this week, join the Patreon. It's a pittance. If you sign up for the full year, it's $100. And I just made everybody who tailed me last week over $1,000. So go ahead and join the Patreon if you want. You get access to the open bet sheets. You get to see exactly how we're betting. You get to DM me in the Patreon directly. You get all of our picks listed out nice and neat with the updates on a moment's notice if need be. And that's where all of the episodes for this week will live. But for now, we're going to talk about June 17th. We're going to talk about Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier. A lot of other good fights on here. But if you want to see us break down, yet again, I'll say it one more time, UFC 289. We already did. Charles Oliveira versus Benil Dariush, Mike Malott versus Adam Fugit, Dan Ige versus Nate Landwehr. It is all there for you for free. If you want to hear us do it again, we'll do it again, dude. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. So let's go.
Can we first discuss the comeuppance of Tim Elliott?
Go ahead. And, everybody was like, oh, I can't wait to hear his post-fight speech. He was never going to say anything about 2 fucking cut UFC fighters who made a
Kevin
mockery.
Kroom, you're taking everything I work for, motherfucker.
I said they made a mockery of his matrimony. That was a good little turn of phrase there.
That was good.
Take a minute to appreciate that.
That is good.
You're making a mockery of my matrimony. Yeah, and also everybody's saying that Tim Elliott and Brandon Kroom should fight in the fucking BKFC. They can fight. Tim Elliott's got a better chance than a BK, and by that I mean Burger King, where you can get a takedown there too, and maybe dump a soda on his head because they fucking bare knuckle box. That's tailor made for the tall, skinny fucking hick in Kroom. It's not gonna favor the short little wrestler guy. You know what I mean? I know he thinks he's fucking Prince Nassim Muhammad Ali out there from time to time. I do myself, but dude, and let's say this: Michael Bisping should be cut straight up from the commentary team. Let him do the thing with Daniel Cormier, the weigh-in show where you can get drunk. You know what I mean? That's his spot. But the commentary is out of control. It's out of control. Anybody who's a pure striker, he finds every little way to talk them up. The Elise Reed fight, the worst among the pure strikers, he will still cling to and hang her banner for them. It's like Elise Reed threw that shitty ass fucking turning sidekick or spinning back kick that she throws, the one that I can throw a million trillion times better and have done on video millions of times for everybody to see. But that fucking kick that I love so very much that we've seen guys get fucking knocked out with in such a tremendous way, she sucks at it. She throws it from 45 feet out. She telegraphs it entirely, and it hits the shoulder every time, if nothing at all. She stinks. She's not a karate, a taekwondo. She's nothing. Like, in terms of striking, you know what I mean? She's not. Michael Bisping would have you think she's Israel Adesanya in there. Michael Bisping would have you think she's fucking, what's his name? Henry Hooft.
Oh, and speaking of which, that's what made me think about the crybabies on the Discord. Israel Adesanya coming out and crying on Twitter about the Kai Kara-France fight. It's like, dude, the fight was simply close. It could have went either way. I had no idea who won afterwards. Honestly, they both lost, in my opinion. Whenever that happens, I don't think who won this fight. I think who lost this fight. And when I see a fight like that, I think you both lost. You both didn't do your job in there. That's all I can think.
Yeah, it's like, Kai, congratulations, you're now a victim. And Amir, congratulations, you are now the victimizer who is now being looked at as like, oh, the UFC just wants to push this guy. It's like, neither of them won. You're exactly right. Now, who did win is Eugene Behrman and the training the training team around Kai Kara-France and City Kickboxing, because he's got those guys doing that spider drill, and he's got guys defending those positions that Kai was in as drills, and he's got them doing it at high levels of intensity, and it pays dividends in these 5-round fights. They can push fucking hard in the 5th round and the 4th round. And I will say, like, City Kickboxing, he works them. Like, he fucking gets them going with that spider. Have you ever seen that video on YouTube, the spider drill, whatever it's called? It's like they go from circuit to circuit, and it's just simulating being in those moments. And Kai thrived in them. So all respect to Kai. Do want to say on the MMA holes, I've been trying to think, what does Kai look like? Like, he just looks like something. Like, I wanted to say, he looks like a goblin, but I was like, no, it's not a goblin. It's not a goblin. I was like, it's something. I was like, he looks like a doll. I've said he looks like a doll, like a marionette doll, or like a doll that came to life or something like that. But I still was like, no, that's not it. The MMA holes guy posted that Kai looks like Beavis when he does the fucking great cornholio. And I was like, that's it. That's what I've been seeing this whole time. That's it. So shout out to those guys. That was hilarious. But again, no crying. Israel needs to chill. He was sitting there saying that the judges need to be interviewed after. And this is just a perfect example of, like, be careful what you wish for. You don't know what you're asking for. You should stick to what you're a specialist at and stop trying to do Dana White's job and everybody else's job. Because here's the reality. You give them an interview. Now, for those judges who actually don't play by your rules and don't give a fuck about your code, you've now given them a platform and an opportunity. Okay? So if you make an egregious call, what do they get? Attention after the fact now. Instead of us just not talking about it again, right? But them getting reviewed internally without any attention or media or praise or because whenever you give somebody negative praise, there's always, why do you see 2 Chinese restaurants next to each other in every shopping mall in all across America? Why do you think there's a Chinese restaurant right here? Why would you open up one right there? Aren't you like hurting like their business and they're hurting your business, and shouldn't you spread out so that you're not like competing? And it's like, no, because some people go in that Chinese restaurant and hate it just because their taste buds are different. They don't like it. They don't like it. So they're going to go to the one next door. And you're always going to be able to do that. So if you're a judge who a lot of people hate, there's always going to be some people who go, no, I kind of like this guy. And that judge will be able to make a controversial decision, get an interview afterwards, and get to explain himself, and maybe he'll win over some people, Israel. That might be fucking worse for your cause. Then this guy gets to write a book and fucking go on a podcast and get the fucking Mark Bell. What's the guy's name? The Joe Rogan guy?
Mark Smith.
Mark Smith, fucking Mark Goddard, all these
Herb Dean,
all these John McCarthy, all these celebrity chef referees who fucking travel from podcast to podcast, like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about, did you know that a grain of sand is shut up. Nobody cares. Like, we're done. I'm sick. We need more interesting, like, people, like, so that we're not constantly deferring to a guy who works for the fucking government. Like, these are referees, they're government employees. Like, when I worked for the state, people would slow me down. They'd say, Hoss, you work for the state. Don't work so hard. Don't work so good. Don't do a good job. That's the mentality of a state employee. And that's
we got to get more hours out of this.
State.
We got to get more hours out of this job, Lukey. Like you can't be hauling the loads this quick.
I was hauling the loads, and I was trying to get the job done, and they were trying to milk the taxpayer, and that is a crime.
That's something I realized on the way.
Like cigarettes and beer, these refs making egregious calls and decisions. That ref took the point away from homeboy from Tajikistan for a headbutt. It's like, dude, it's doing business. Headbutts are gonna fucking happen. That one guy headbutted the guy on the ground and didn't get a point taken away, and he like headbutted him.
Yeah,
it was like, what's going on, dude? This is crazy. The refs shouldn't make discretionary, arbitrary decisions. It should always be deferred to the rule. Okay? And there should be no intent determination. There should be no, well, that was intentional. How the fuck do you know? The guy was going like this the whole fight. Of course his head's going to connect.
Sometimes when you shadow box, you connect.
That was always my gripe. Like, how do you know whether something's intentional?
And Herb said that the Kid Kempo goes, Kid Kavempo, he's like, he didn't do a lot to cause that. Watch your weapons. That was verbatim, like what he, and it was like, okay, so Munoz gets absolutely blasted in the ball sack, okay? And then Munoz raises him, and he goes, now you didn't do that to get revenge, did you? It was like an NPC dialogue. He's like, I'm watching you. It was like Herb Dean was Herb Dean from the video game in that moment. It was crazy. It's like, what are you trying to suss him out for? You're like, are you on a fucking detective investigation now? Like, he's like trying to read him. He's trying to get a confession out of him. He's trying to like coax a confession. He's like, he didn't do a lot to cause that. And then Johnny's like,
you do a foghorn like
Johnny's like, in his mind, like, I definitely need him on purpose to get revenge. He's like, and he's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. He's like, where were you on the night of the 5th?
And Luke, the guy behind you made headlines this week as well.
Doing what?
He crashed interview.
Oh my god. My heart skipped 3 beats.
Speaking of that, like, I mean, the drunken mess, the drunken fool Maurice Green was doing an interview for his upcoming fight in the PFL this Friday or next Friday. Don't really care. And John Jones comes in and says, Francis Ngannou, you're a big old pussy with big muscles. You're just a big old pussy with big muscles.
Dude, I would love for them to get Tyson Fury in there against John. Dana White's put out a formal offer. He said, if Tyson Fury wants to fight John Jones, we will get it paid. Now, here's my thing. Why, and you need to put this in the timestamps, Alex. John Jones, Tyson Fury talk. Put that in the timestamps. So, Tyson Fury.
Don't boss me around.
Tyson Fury has the potential to make more money to do less work. Why wouldn't he want to do that? You go in there and fight Anthony Joshua. You go in there and fight fucking Usyk, you fight any of these guys, you got to train for it. In boxing, you're going to be taking hits that here and there, wear and tear. You got to go in there and fight them. I'm sure they're going to hit you at least once or twice. You fight John Jones, it's going to look like Randy Couture versus James Toney. He's going to fucking ankle pick you. He's going to submit you. We're in and out, baby. All Tyson Fury has to do to make $50 million is just say uncle. Really, just admit the truth that you can't beat John Jones if it were in the streets. The only way you can beat John Jones, and I'm a big Tyson Fury fan. I love Tyson Fury. But this is just the cold water that needs to splash in Tyson's face. And the reality is, you can say you're a fighting man, you can say you're the king, but the reality is, if you and John Jones met in a fucking bathroom stall, he would kill you 10 times out of 10. And I'd love to see me proven wrong. I would love to see Tyson Fury come in and win and be the heavyweight boxing champ and the heavyweight UFC champ. I would put a picture of Tyson Fury right there. I would wait outside his house to get him to sign it. But I'd keep the John picture. I'm just saying, like, I would respect it. I want to see the truth. I don't want to see Fugazi bullshit. I want to see the truth. Not put the pillows on my hands and this one has horse hair and this one has goat fur. No.
Luke, I agree with you. A bathroom stall, John, every single second of every single time. But maybe a bathroom? I mean, Tyson Fury, maybe in the whole bathroom, Tyson Fury might be able to stay away from him enough. Okay.
Any capable stall.
Yes, I can't let you get close to me. And that's Tyson Fury's
I don't think we could fit these two in any stall.
No.
It would have to be the family restroom, the whole restroom.
I don't see Tyson getting down to 265. I mean, where does he fight at in boxing?
Make it super heavy. Make it super heavyweight. Who cares? If we can't talk John into weighing in at 260 and Tyson weighing in at $3, then I mean, come on, John. Like we're fucking bringing him in. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's already these boxers. It's already James Toney and Clarissa Shields are the only two who have my respect. I mean, they're the only two that said, yeah, no, I got into this. I didn't put the boxing gloves on because I didn't want to be the toughest person in the schoolyard. I put them on because I did want to be. And I thought this was the best path. But now there's this new thing. And I'm realizing that I want to still.
I don't think that was James Toney's angle. I think you saw a cash grab.
I mean, I think James Toney really thought he could fucking knock Randy Couture out. I don't think he did.
What did he say before the fight? He was like, James Toney in 4-ounce gloves. It's going to be a homicide.
Yeah, he's going to kill somebody in 4 ounces. That was awesome. All right, so let's break down these fights. We talked enough about everything and all that jazz. So let's do it. Let's start from the tippy top. We got the Italian. We got the Italian dream. Marvin Vettori taking on Jared Cannonier, straight out of Alaska. Jared Cannonier 16-6, Marvin Vettori 19-5-1. You know, Vettori, he's really hard to read for me. You know what I mean? He's 10 years younger than Jared Cannonier. I think that's important to note. Jared is 39. You know, he doesn't look 39. He's really, really sculpted. He's absolutely fit. He trains at the MMA lab. He works very hard. But 5'11", 77-inch reach. He's going to be 3.5 inches longer in terms of reach than Vettori. King's MMA versus the MMA lab. I mean, it's like both of these guys have had matchups where they have staring contests, where they fight slippery, where in terms of just not engaging. You know, I don't really, to be honest, like these guys' style. Like, I don't like to watch these guys' fights. I'm not excited about these guys' fights. I'm in terms of like, I don't know how they're going to perform. I don't know what's going to happen in there. I don't know what I'm going to get. I see a lot of decisions. I mean, we're talking the last 10 fights split between the two of their last 5. We're talking one finish by Jared Cannonier, and it was that elbow against Brunson, a fight where he fucking lost that first round and was getting absolutely dominated. And, you know, it was just sort of like his whole everything and Brunson's whole everything he almost just overtook Brunson. You know what I mean? He almost just was just more sturdy in there and was able to just robotically just put it out, right? It wasn't like he was
power of the crystals.
Yeah, it wasn't like he was elegantly skilled. It was almost just like a wood chipper moving towards Brunson, and then Brunson sitting there moving the wood chipper out of the way. It's like you can only move it for so long. You know what I mean? Like eventually it was a 3-round fight. So I want really nothing to do with betting this fight. I don't even know what the line's going to be. I don't see it on Tapology. If you guys want to pull it up, I don't know, but they're, you know, that Sean Strickland fight, everybody thinks Sean won. I do too. The Roman Doladeze fight, I thought Roman won. You know what I mean? So they're both coming off back-to-back losses in my mind against the height of the division, right? So Vettori losing his last 2 to Israel and Whitaker, and same for Cannonier, right? So how did they lose, right? How did they lose to Izzy? How did they lose to Whitaker? I mean, Vettori looked like dog shit in that Whitaker fight. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hear what you guys have to say. I'm not even gonna give my pick yet.
Yeah, I think the best thing to play on this one is winner by split decision. I think that this is not going to be the most aesthetically appealing fight. Like Luke said, based on their styles, these guys get in the staring contest a lot. Marvin Vettori's main weapon is just holding you up against the cage and just kneeing your legs and stuff like that. So I think this is going to be another controversial main event coming up where a lot of people feel very passionately about one side and a lot of people feel very passionately about the other, and neither of them are really right. Both of these guys are going to end up losing this fight, in my opinion. I think Cannonier can obviously do more damage. I think that Vettori will control the fight for a lot longer. But it just really depends on who's judging this fight. Are they going to be judging it on who lands the most impactful shots of the evening? Or are they going to judge it saying, okay, a guy who held somebody up against the fence for 3 minutes and 50 seconds obviously deserves to win the round. The guy didn't get anything going until those last 30 seconds of the round. So it's going to be a tough one to call. I think that a split decision bet might be smart here. I'm gonna roll with Vettori here because I think that he's a blockhead. He is a brickhead. He has a head of a brick. I don't think Cannonier is going to be able to put him out. And although I do not look forward to seeing Vettori winning, I'm not a big Vettori fan. Dan always says he's a fake Italian. I'm surprised Luke isn't more passionate about Jared Cannonier, all the dumb shit he believes. Like he believes in powers of crystals, manifestation, all this just blase blah, hoopla bullshit that I don't
bullshit. Hippie bullshit.
Hippie bullshit. Evil hippie bullshit. That's the evil hippies selling you the turquoise in fucking Arizona right there. They're like, this turquoise will bring you balance and
that's haram. That's haram.
That's haram.
It's idol worship. It's false idol worship.
It's false idols, and there's no rocks are bullshit. I'm done with rocks. I'm out on rocks.
All I'm gonna say is I bought an amethyst crystal and I put it next to my bed. I had fucking crazy dreams that night, right? Out of nowhere. I look up after the fact. Amethyst crystal characteristics. Crazy dreams were one of them.
You sound like a college girl posting her fucking dumb horoscope. Yeah, everything can lead to crazy dreams. Anything. Less water in a day, more sugar. Literally any fucking thing in the world could lead to you. Oh, Luke, you decided to also take a tea break at the same time that you had this amethyst crystal.
I could have been never do that.
Anyway, I'm going with Vettori here. Sorry to get off track. Dan, what do you think? I know you hate Vettori.
No, I actually love Vettori now. Once he started getting, once I had more exposure to Vettori and him just saying crazy stuff, getting really angry very easily, that's the best part about him. Like he looks very foolish, but in an endearing way. Love him. Love him for this fight too. I think it's very cut and dry. Guy's never been knocked out before. That's one of Jared Cannonier's most used paths to victory. The knockout will not be there. Vettori has a lot more volume historically in his fights than Jared Cannonier has put up. And we've seen Jared Cannonier get taken down by wrestlers at will 3 times, 4 times, 6 times throughout his career. So that path will be open for Vettori as well. So whether it's standing or grappling, I think Vettori has advantages and he's not going to be knocked out. So again, which is Cannonier's favorite path. So I think it's very cut and dry. I like Vettori a lot in this matchup.
I'm going to take Vettori as well. I think the age, the speed, the overall just springiness on the step, I think will be in his favor. I think he can decide to leg kick him for 5 rounds if he wants to and win a decision. I think he's smart enough to do that with King's MMA. He's proven in the past that he's willing to fight a pussy, boring fight. No offense. I know Marvin's like a hot-headed. I know he'll be mad that I said that, but overall, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with like all these guys that say they want to die in the ring and are like gladiators and stuff. It's like they go in there and fight very strategic, smart fights. They're no Darren Elkins. They're no Nate the Train Landwehr. That's all I'm saying. They have heavy self-preservation instincts in there, and I don't know. So I'm gonna go with Marvin. We're gonna triple P certify Marvin. It's easy to do when he's 10 years younger. I'm gonna check the odds right now for everybody before Alex gets back, and it's gonna be let's see if they have them. I'm looking on FanDuel, which they don't usually have anything good. All right, minus 156, Marvin Vettori. I love it. That's exactly where I want this line to be based on the kind of uncertainty I had around the fight initially. I wanted it to be around pick'em territory. I'm hoping that we can grab Marvin at even better odds, but I think it'll go up. I think, guys, this is kind of the benefit of the early show. It's like 156 on FanDuel. He's probably 120 on DraftKings, 136 on DraftKings, something like that. So go check this out now because I bet it's minus 200 by the time fight breaks out with everything, or maybe minus 180. I don't know. I think the line will start to tip towards the favorite. But let's get into the second fight.
I was hoping Dan just Jeffrey Tubin dust and like, didn't have any pants on when he's adjusting his camera. And we're just like, oh shit.
No, I had to look past my my laptop here, but yeah, I am wearing pants. It's all good.
All right, so we got a co-main event here. Shit, sorry, I'm swearing. I'm swearing like a sailor over here. Arman Tsarukyan versus Joaquim Silva, baby. Ooh, I like this fight a lot, but I don't think I'm gonna like the odds because I think I got a glimpse of them when I was checking the last one. I'm going with Arman Tsarukyan. I think so is the rest of the world. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, he's sensational. Arman Tsarukyan.
Minus 1,000.
No, it's not.
God.
2 weeks out, minus 1,000. Bo nickel odds in this match. So
That's
I think you got to take him by finish. I think you got to take him by finish if you want to squeeze any juice. Now he's a bit of a decision guy at times, so we're gonna. That's where the value is going to be, right? You're gonna have to say this is going to be. You got to look at it and go minus 1,000. It ain't going to decision. This isn't short notice. This is a fight we've known about for a while. He's 8 years younger. Okay, he's got a 3.5 reach. Okay. He is relatively spotless except against the best competition. And even the one blemish in his last 5-10 months ago against Gamrot, who I picked as a big dog and won and cashed on big time that fight. A lot of people thought Tsarukyan won. I was sweating it myself. You know what I mean? That fight was as close as the Albazi Kaikara France fight. And look how quickly people forget, guys. So those of you crying about last weekend, remember what you took. Remember you had Tsarukyan. You had Tsarukyan at minus 200. I had Gamrot at plus 200. I won, and I moved on, and I said, that was a close fight. A lot of people's ships went down with Tsarukyan that night, so it happens. Cash out.
Yeah.
Cash out.
Yeah, it's called gambling for a reason. You're taking a gamble of sorts. The fate is not always determined by the event. Okay. The outcome is not determined by the event. I'm going with Arman Tsarukyan as well. Obviously, I mean, minus 1,000 favorite. Not really too much to say about this. You got a guy in Joaquim Silva whose most impressive win came 5 years ago against Jared Gordon and has lost to the likes of Ricky Glenn. I have way more respect for Arman Tsarukyan than I do Ricky Glenn. Sorry, Ricky Glenn. Didn't mean to get.
I love Ricky Glenn.
Yeah, no, didn't mean to hit you with a stray bullet there. I am a fan of you, but in terms of the fight style, I got to go with Arman Tsarukyan over Ricky Glenn. I think
Arman's 28 and an absolute sculpture of a man. Like,
there are different points in their career.
His abs and lick caramel off those sweet pecs, but other than that, I mean, Ricky Glenn is what, like 34?
Some of that nature. I mean, I'll do a deep dive on Ricky Glenn real quick. 34 years old. How
Let's
did you know?
Time on this minus
34. You guessed it right on the dot. I'm taking Arman
Tsarukyan here by finish. We'll trophy certify the finish. What do you say?
I'm not going to do the finish, but I will pick him. I'll pick him. I'll keep it at that. The guy's like the most talented fighter in the best division in the sport. So pretty simple.
Give him his flowers for sure. While you still, I'm all for giving guys their flowers. So if you want to give him his flowers, go ahead, give him his flowers.
He's a great fighter.
Okay,
he's really,
Muslim Salikhov versus Nicholas Dalby. Nicholas Dalby, interesting guy. Muslim Salikhov, the king of kung fu, also very interesting. This is a sick matchup. 39 versus 38. So no real advantage or disadvantage there for either of them. But I would say that Dalby kind of wears his age a little bit better, it would seem. He looks, very much like somebody cast out of The Last Kingdom, out of Vikings. I mean, he's got the great braids, the nice beard. But ultimately, the one that stands out in my mind is that loss to Tim Means. I know that he's had some wins. He's actually had a lot of success lately. I really liked Nicholas Dalby at one point, and he let me down a couple of times. I'm trying to think of where he really let me down. Was it against Jesse Ronson? Did he lose that fight initially?
Yes.
He lost it. That's what it was. So he lost against Jesse Ronson by rear naked choke. It was ruled a no contest. Not in my betting book. I fucking paid the price on that loss. I didn't. No one came back and gave me my money back on that. So he beat D-Rod. And I probably bet against him when he fought D-Rod. I can almost guarantee you I did because of the bad taste in my mouth over the Ronson thing. Then I probably bet on him on Means, and he probably lost. You know what I mean? And then, do you know what I mean?
And I know what you mean. And you probably had a bad taste in your mouth for the next two, and then took the other guy. Warley Alves and
he
Claudio
probably
Silva.
beat Alves on that split decision, and I probably picked him against Alves. Warley Alves, old guy, right? No, let me see.
Beat Colby
No,
Covington.
I definitely picked Alves. Yeah. So again, so I've been really on the wrong side of this guy all along, but like, does Nicholas Dalby have the tools in his game to get the King of Kung Fu away from the game of Kung Fu? That's the question, right? I mean, he lost in dramatic fashion to Li Jingliang, but then won in dramatic fashion against Andre Fiallo most recently. Took Elizo Zaleski to a split decision. I'm going King of Kung Fu here. I think he's just, I don't know. I mean, do I want to take the... if you're going off record, you're taking the King of Kung Fu. But I don't know. I just feel King of Kung Fu it is for me. I'm just going to... It's really a tough one to call. Well, you guys give your picks. I'll check out the line. But I think I'm leaning King of Kung Fu. You know, he's a little bit older, but I think that it'll be it feels wrong. It feels like I'm wrong. You know what I mean? Like, and this is the thing, guys. I don't go 100% every week. So sometimes I have to go, yeah, my initial instincts are about 70% correct. Where am I wrong in my initial instincts? And I think this might be one of the times where my initial instinct is wrong, where I want to take Muslim Salikhov because I respect him more. He's the King of Kung Fu. He's Russian. Dalby.
Well, Luke, let me make this a little bit easier for you, because this is karate versus Kung Fu. Okay, this is karate versus Kung Fu. This is not a wrestler versus a Kung Fu master. I would have loved one of them to have some Aikido in their background, you know, but instead we have Kung Fu versus karate. I'm going to also go with the King of Kung Fu, because it's not like Nicholas Dalby is going to do everything in his power to get the King of Kung Fu on the ground. Nicholas Dalby is going to try to stay at range with a guy who also wants to stay at range with him. This could be another staring contest in all of reality, but I think Muslim Salikhov is going to be able to do enough. He's going to have more diversity in his game, and he's going to be able to get this done. Muslim Salikhov all the way.
I have a feeling we won't have 3 straight trophy certified picks. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Dalby, although this one is very tough for me to pick. Basically, because Dalby's all over the place. He's a really tough fighter to kind of get the pulse of. Yeah, he could land like 120 strikes in one fight and like 15 in the next. I think he has some gas tank issues, but I like this matchup because Salikhov is also not the guy that's really going to like press him in that regards. He's also going to be pretty low volume and pretty consistently throughout his career. So I like Dalby being the younger guy. It seems like a little bit more of a heart-to-year guy, as Luke would say. So I like him coming forward in this matchup. He's
not the younger guy. That is false.
He's not younger?
The year younger. Salikhov's 39, Dalby's 38.
No, Salikhov is 38. Dalby is also 38. Dalby turns 39 in October.
Well, Muslim Salikhov looks like he's 45, so doesn't even matter.
It's just because there's a black and white picture on Tapology, dummy.
I'm not looking at Tapology. I'm not looking at Tapology. I'm not even looking at a picture. But yeah, I think that Dalby's biggest weakness is his cardio, which I don't think is going to be exploited in this matchup. So I think we're going to get one of the better versions that we've seen of him. And, you know, Salikhov seems to be fading a little bit. I know he's got a nice win in his last fight against Fiallo, but
well, seemingly... Who do you think wins, Fiallo or Dalby? I think Fiallo fucks Dalby up bad.
Yeah, but it's a different kind of matchup. You know, Dalby doesn't really have the power.
You just said Salikhov and Dalby are going to fight the same fight. They're going to be strikers. So,
well, yeah, they're both strikers, but
they're both strikers. They're going to strike. Fiallo, Salikhov got knocked the fuck out. You're saying Dalby fights the same fighting style, and I think
but Salikhov is
what is Li Jingliang?
Salikhov is a knockout artist, whereas Dalby's going to put in more volume in a lot of his fights.
What does Eliza Zaleski dos Santos do against Dalby? Fucks him up bad.
I think Dalby beat him.
What?
No,
Dalby beat him in his first fight in the UFC.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yes, instant karma. The nerd gets revenge on the jock. Oh,
no, he beat Alex Oliveira in his first UFC fight.
No, you're
Nicholas
an idiot. I'm
You're
looking at it right now.
Salikhov. You're thinking of Muslim Salikhov.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at it right now. He took him down 6 times. Split decision win. Yeah,
you're right. Split decision.
Split.
But so was
Muslim Salikhov. You're looking at Muslim Salikhov.
No,
They
I'm
both
not.
fought him. They both fought him.
Dude, Alex, I'm looking at it right now. Cage Warrior 74. Then he debuts in the UFC, wins a split decision against Zaleski, draws Darren Till. 3-fight losing streak, 3-fight winning streak.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. That was his first stint in the UFC. Then he went back to Cage Warriors, and then
You're right. He had a 3-fight losing streak after his draw with Darren Till. And isn't that funny, right? Darren Till can have a 7-fight losing streak. They don't fucking cut him. But the guy who draws him has a 3-fight losing streak. They make him good. They send him back down to Cage Warriors.
Dude, and he doubled his strikes. I'm looking at. He landed 84. Darren Till landed 49, and he had 2 takedowns.
Darren Till hit him with the hammers. Darren Till hit him with the hammers, dude. Darren Till rocked him, definitely. I mean, knowing Darren Till, I think this was an early Darren Till fight, too. Me and my friend were watching that big...
Let's not waste airtime on Darren.
That big glass of milk, Darren Till. And we were like, who's this guy with this fucking terrible tattoo on his arm who looks like he's going to get destroyed by like this... You know, like you see Dalby, he looks like a Viking. He's going to get destroyed by this guy. And then I think I was impressed by Darren Till.
Man, that was in 2015. You must have been like 8 years old.
I was a senior in high school.
All right, moving on. So you're going to take Dalby, Dan.
Yeah, I'm going Dalby.
Oh, you're going to get some underdog odds on him there. And Alex, you're also wrong. Dalby is 38. Salikhov is 39. It says it right fucking here. So...
On Tapology.
Yeah, on Tapology. On Tapology. Yep. That's what I'm on. Unless I'm on Rapology. All right.
No, he turns 39
You're
in 2
wrong.
days.
I'm looking at
No,
it.
he turns 39 in 2 days. His birthday's in June 9th. I'm looking at it as well, dumbass. They're just rounding up. When the fight happens, he's going to be 39.
Nicholas Dalby, it says on Tapology, his age at fight will be 38 years, 7 months, 1
At fight, motherfucker. The 9th is in 2 days. 3 days.
4 days.
4 days.
Those watching just know, like, you know what's being said here. You can see Tapology too. Like, it's all.
It's time at fight. Today, as it stands today, Muslim Salikhov is 38 years old. He turns 39 in a few days.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
He's older by 3 months, guys.
I thought you were still arguing that he was younger.
All right. Officially, he is not younger. I retract that statement.
Today, they are the same age if you're just going by what year they are. But if you're counting the months, which, you know, those months don't really matter. Nicholas Motta matters. And he's taking on Manuel Torres at 155. Nicholas Motta, only 1 loss in recent memory. He got knocked out by Jim Miller, but who hasn't lately, right? Everyone's getting knocked out by Jim Miller. He also finished one Joe Salikhov, who we have had on the show many times. Go back and watch those episodes. Get to know Joe. He gave great interviews. Frank Camacho was knocked out in his last fight by Manuel Torres, El Loco. That was a year ago. Meanwhile, since the Jim Miller knockout, Motta rebounded nicely against Cameron Van Camp, knocked him out. But hey, Cameron Van Camp's the type who almost knocks you out and then gets knocked out. So I think I remember that fight being a little chaotic. I'm going with El Loco here. I'm going with Manuel Torres. He's a little bit younger. I think that he's, you know, what do I think about him? What do I fucking think about this guy? I mean,
tell me.
This is gonna be a close fight, but all right, I might close fight. I really want nothing to do with this one. I don't have any really solid leans, but I'll take Torres. Less losses, same amount of wins, but less losses. That's my reason. Keep it simple, stupid. One guy has 13 wins and 4 losses. One guy has 13 wins and 2 losses. Who are you going to take?
I'll go with Torres on this one. I like the power that he's shown in his fights, whereas Motta, I know he's coming off of the knockout win of Van Camp, but that guy kind of stinks. And normally he's kind of got pillow hands. He's pretty good on the volume, but not really bringing in the power in these fights. So tentatively speaking, I'll go with Torres on this one. We don't really have all that much data on either guy, so I got to do a little bit more film study to see what's up. But as of now, I'll take Torres.
Nobody who's knocked out Joe Selecki has quote unquote pillow handstand. I thought you were
right there. I just got caught. Shit.
I thought you were about to break bad on us. I thought you were about to go back to your Joe Lasaki ways and start flaming one of my best friends in the entire world. Probably a better friend to me than you. I think I'm gonna agree. Triple P certified Manuel Torres. All that being said, I think this is gonna be a very like small man versus like a long, lanky guy who both of these guys are going to want to stay on the feet. They both have a lot of striking success in their UFC fights and fights before that. I think El Loco is just going to be a little bit too clever, a little bit too long, and a little bit too mean. And he's got that Mexican tenacity, dude. The chins on these Mexican fighters are unmatched. When's the last time you seen a Mexican get knocked out? It'll just like, come on.
Brian
man.
Garcia.
That was a body shot.
Still not.
TKO.
Whatever.
But next up, we have who's that? Arman Petrosyan versus Leroy Duncan. Dan, what do you think about this matchup?
So we first saw Duncan, his first UFC fight not too long ago. I remember thinking that he seems like he's doing everything just all right. Nothing's really standing out. He seems like he's got a very basic fight style. He's dotting the I's and crossing the T's, but nothing's really like popping off the page here. I think Petrosyan, he's got the hole in his game as far as his grappling, which maybe Duncan could exploit in this matchup. So I'm a little bit nervous of that. But as long as this matchup is staying on the feet, I like Petrosyan. Seems to have more tools in the belt. Very flashy, but also like high striker IQ, right? I think he's got a kickboxing background and all that jazz. So I like Petrosyan. I'm banking on the fact that he's working on his takedown defense. So, young guy still has the ability to level up, especially in areas that he's lacking at this point. So I'll go Petrosyan.
Well, Dan, I'm actually going to disagree with you entirely on that. We haven't really seen much from Leroy Duncan.
Oh wait, shit! I'm thinking of a completely different guy.
Yeah, Leroy Duncan.
Who was the other? He was on the same card. He was also a Duncan, I think.
I could find out. Danny Duncan.
You're so right, Dan. You are right. There were two Duncans.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. I'll look it up. You can break down the thing. Yeah, this guy is good. This guy's really good.
I got him.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Leroy Duncan. We didn't really see a lot in his first fight, but
Chris
if you
Duncan won by split decision against Omar.
Yes, that's the guy. No, I'm switching my pick. I'm going with Leroy Duncan. This guy is actually really good. He well rounded.
He knocked out Dusko Tudorovic in the first round, and I believe you picked Dusko Tudorovic.
Yeah, I did. So this guy, I'm
gonna learn. Knee injury. Remember, it was the knee.
Yes. He put him away with a.
He wanted to do more.
That's what I was fucking alluding to when you kept interrupting me, you scumbag. Okay? Yeah, we didn't see a lot of him because he injured Dusko Tudorovic in the first minute and 52 seconds into the first round. But if you look back at some of his Cage Warrior fights, he is pretty damn well-rounded. Out of both of these guys, one of them has wins by submission. And trust me, it's not Arman Tsarukyan. So I know Dan just went back on everything he just said, but when it comes to, Arman Petrosyan, he doesn't really have a grappling game. I don't think Christian Leroy Duncan is even going to have to take it there. He's also a very powerful striker. He tore a guy's knee in the first minute and 52 seconds into a fight. He's an animal. He will go out there and destroy Arman Tsarukyan or Arman Petrosyan. Sorry. Two Armans, man.
I'm also going to go with CLD. I was high on him going into the Dusko Tudorovic fight. At the end of the day, he's a superior athlete. He's built to kill in there. You shouldn't feel any shame about that fight. Dusko, they sent him in there. He couldn't last a fucking minute before he fucking broke. So at the end of the day, it's not a cheap win at all. It's just what is going to happen. It's what's going to happen. You put LeBron James in there against a fucking high school kid. What do you think's going to happen? He's going to get dunked on. He's probably going to get hurt. You know what I mean? You can't do that. You can't be putting CLD in there against people who are going to get hurt. Petrosyan's not somebody who's going to get hurt, but it'll be a good fight. Next, we got
LeBron James is actually going to go to USC to play a year with Bronny Jr.
Stop. No, he's not.
He has all of his eligibility.
That would be crazy.
Now the NL, what is it?
No, that's a movie. That's a Rodney Dangerfield movie, dude. That's LeBron James back to school remake.
That's next. He's gonna ruin that childhood classic we had.
I mean,
after he ruined Space Jam.
Well. I didn't even see the new fucking Looney Tunes. What was it?
I would never watch that piece
Bugs
of
Bunny.
junk.
No, it was the Space Jam.
Space Jam 2. Yeah, I would never.
Did it even come out?
yeah,
right.
No, I'm saying like you would think that it would make it across my desk, right? Like you would think that I would have heard about
Why?
it.
You don't want
I heard so much about the build-up, but I never saw it come out.
I think it came out during COVID, so it might not have been in theaters. Well, it might have just came out on streaming.
They tried remaking Coming to America during COVID too, and that was a fucking fart in the wind. No one gave a fuck. It was horrible. And then, not to mention, dude, like everything now. So my coworker, I was at the office, and my coworker, I was like, "What'd you do this weekend?" She's like, "We went into the movies." So I was like, "What'd you see?" And she kind of like looked away, and she was like, "We saw The Machine."
Dude, I heard that bombed.
No, I was checking. I was actually checking some stats on it. It did not bomb. And here's the thing, but the funny thing about it was she said that, and I had to be like, I like Burt Kreischer too. And she's like, okay. It's like she's like, I don't know how this is gonna. She was almost like didn't know how like if she should tell me that. I don't know that.
Oh, thank God! I didn't know you were white trash too.
Yeah, exactly. I just show my card that says I'm white. I'm also a white trash individual. Card.
I'm the type of family who will leave a half of a cup of milk in the fridge.
So I don't know where I'm going with this, but
talk about your work wife, the machine.
No, I was saying what were we talking about though?
Space Jam.
LeBron
James with the NLI deal. He can get paid to go to college.
It's like the only movie that's actually like a movie that like somebody thought of and wrote it down, and like it's not like a remake or a sequel or a property reimagined. It's like no, this is like a new movie. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a new movie of an old joke.
I guess you're right. You're right.
Actually, not really.
Fuck that movie too. Then you're right. It's a remake. It's just a remake.
It's a biopic.
I didn't even realize it was a remake. I'm so dumb. I'm like the dumbest person of all time. I didn't see it. So
no. It goes deeper than that. The Russian mafia calls him back. They're like,
I know, Alex.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it wasn't really. I don't know. I don't know what you know.
How weird is it that Sebastian Maniscalco has a movie called About My Father, where Robert De Niro plays his father? Burt Kreischer has a movie called The Machine, where Mark Hamill plays his father, and they both come out on the same weekend. It's like two Chinese restaurants opening up in the same.
And they both bombed.
You think they bombed?
Dude, The Machine did not do well, I heard.
I think if The Machine does as well as a movie with Robert De Niro in it, that's a success.
Definitely.
I saw like no promo.
And that's kind of the thing, right? Sebastian is like this like sophisticated comedian who's like better than Burt in theory, right? And he does a movie with Robert De Niro, who's like much more prominent than Mark Hamill, right? But what happens? Equal outcome. So what does that mean? Win for Burt.
I don't know, man. All this Marvin Vettori Triple P certification makes you think that Sebastian Maniscalco is a sophisticated comedian. I mean,
it's like when Volkanovski fought Makhachev. Makhachev won that fight, but Volkanovski won that fight. You know what I mean? Burt's Volkanovski. Sebastian Maniscalco in the
I guess in an intelligence contest.
UFC fighter from Dagestan.
I guess in an intelligence contest between Burt Kreischer and Sebastian Maniscalco, you have to go with Sebastian.
This
is like a Howard Stern segment, putting these two together in terms of intelligence.
I'm saying that they're both comedians. They both live in LA. They're both LA comedians. But Sebastian wears like nice suits. Burt takes his shirt off. They're in terms of class and sophistication, you would objectively say that a movie with Robert De Niro and Sebastian, that's supposed to be the date night movie. The Burt movie is supposed to be the one you take your fucking rotten kids to on Memorial Day to shut them up for fucking 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like it's a different level, right? Sebastian's not performing to Burt's audience and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? But in theory, Burt packed the punch just as hard as Robert De Niro and Sebastian. That's my point. That's my point I was trying to make here is that you would think that one with Robert De Niro would kind of like, catch a little bit more steam.
And I think the guy from Workaholics wrote that movie too. So
pound for pound, it's a better outcome for Burt's movie, I would say, right?
Yeah, I mean,
this was such a fucking waste of time. We shouldn't have talked about any of this. I should cut all of this from the show.
What are we, the comedy police?
Yeah, what are we, the comedy police? This is not fucking this is not PF Chang's. We got to move on, okay? You got Pat Sabatini taking on Lucas Almeida, okay? Dan, I'll let you take this one off because Pat's your boy, dude. He's not my he's not my boy anymore. I'll say that.
Yeah, I might switch off my boy here. I might kill a darling, go with Lucas Almeida. The guy is talented as hell. He beat off
oh man.
Beat him off real bad. Knocked them out in the third round. In his asshole.
I love the clarifying. In his ass.
Oh man.
I do have a request for a
Maybe
drop.
we are the comedy police. Maybe we can be.
I do have a request for a drop, and it is Beetlejuice in Howard Stern's studio. Like, it cost me $5,000. It cost me $2,500. Like, just keep changing the price because that's how it is when I'm telling my significant other how much money I lost on any given night. It was at least $5,000. No, $2,500.
You see the one of the guy buying Pokemon cards, and she's like, "Are the other men spending $1,400 in 4 days?" And he's like, "Are they serious? Are they serious? They're serious, they are." All right, so
pick for me is Almeida.
All right, so who did Almeida beat off? Dan, I kind of missed that.
Mike Trezano.
All right, Mike Trezano.
Another Jersey guy. This guy's going to be called the Jersey Killer by the end of his career.
So a guy killed your darling, so you're going to kill a darling to sacrifice him on the altar of the man who killed your darling. So basically, you're sacrificing two darlings in the name of Almeida.
Yes.
It's a double darling sacrifice, everybody. Sound the alarms. Sound the alarms. It's a double darling sacrifice.
All right.
Follow that up, Alex.
I'm gonna disagree here. I'm just gonna have to.
You,
I mean,
I
I don't necessarily know why. I just think grappling wins every single.
Does not know what he's talking about.
He has no idea.
If Dan was going against Sabatini, I was going to go with Sabatini.
If Dan was going with Sabatini, I might have went against Sabatini. So I think this is I think Dan has too much of a.
Dan went 10 for 12 last week, so we should
have vested interest. I think he has too much of a vested interest in this one. And the week that we, I mean, I guess this. I'm living in Inception right now with the time things. I have no idea what's going on.
Into a hyper lucidity that I've never known before, and I'm happy to access because I'm like exactly.
So for the Amanda Nunes fight, I think Dan and I only disagree on one fight, 2 fights. I think Dan and I are double P certified all the way through.
I don't know which way's up anymore. I'm just so locked in on the moment. Like I don't even know if this picks are. I don't know what we're talking about, but I'm just in the moment. Like it's just. But I'm with you on Pat Sabatini. I think he's gonna go in there. He's gonna wrestle fuck this guy. We're having Joe Piper on the show next week. He trains with Pat Sabatini, so I'm not gonna badmouth him.
We'll see.
Oh shit.
We'll see.
I might have to change my pick next week.
Just a special drop for the people coming in at 1 hour, 19 minutes into the show. We're having our second UFC fighter on the show, also named Joe. Don't get confused. He's also from the Mid-Atlantic region. Try not to get confused. We're going to move on.
All right, perfect.
Double P certified Pat Sabatini. Dan's killing his darling. He's taking Lucas Almeida. I agree. Lucas Almeida is very talented, and Pat Sabatini did upset and disappoint us all last week. Last time. And there's no reason I should pick him, but I just feel like Dan will be wrong here. I think Dan is being misled by forces outside his control, and I'm just going to go with the flow here. And I'm going to be like, all right, I hear you. You've spoken your message through Dan. Thank you. Now, Jimmy the Brick Flick. This boy retired. Last I checked. This boy retired. He tucked tail and turned. Okay? So, even though he's going to be taller than this man, he's going to have a 3-inch reach and height advantage against this man, Alessandro Costa. Not to be confused, he is not nicknamed Turbo, okay? That is Alex Perez. He is Turbo. This is Alessandro Costa. No. That's his nickname. No. I'm going with no, baby. I've been hearing a lot of no-nos lately. Yeah, he lost to Amir Albazi. We saw how tough Amir Albazi is. He got finished in round 3. That's fair. He had a great round 3 against Kaikara. That's his round. Jimmy the Brick Flick retired. That's the reason I'm picking against him. I don't go digging up bones. I don't go digging up ghosts. Unless they're immortal ghosts, name of Matt Brown, who can retire and come back and do devastating things to a one Court McGee. So this guy fucked up Cody Durden. He said that I think, and I'm paraphrasing here, but the whole spiel was, his daddy never loved him or respected him, and he'd been chasing it his whole damn life. And he beat boy Cody Durden up in 2020, and he learned then that sometimes you get what you're after all along. You earn dad's respect, but then I don't even know. I really don't even know what happened. He retired.
A classic boy named Sue situation. Sometimes you got to beat up your dad, Cody Durden, just to get a little respect around here. He gave him that name because he wanted him to be tough all along, Luke. He gave him the name the Brick.
I think if you wanted him to be tough, he would have named him Dick Flick.
Dick Flick. That would have been a good one.
Robert Flick.
Richard.
Yeah, Robert is Bobby.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Robbie. Right. This guy, dude, he doesn't know his ass from
his doesn't even know names. Okay, so yeah, and he came back after retirement. He lost against Charles Johnson.
Not a loss that aged well.
Not a loss that aged well. We really thought highly of Charles Johnson then. Not so much off that fight because I was like, this guy's coming off 2-year layoff off retirement. He's going to get killed by Charles Johnson. But I think that some sleeping dogs are better left lying, and Flick should have stayed lying like a sleeping dog because now he's coming back against no. And he's going to say no.
Yeah, Alessandro Costa. I mean, I liked the Turbo joke, but I would have probably made one like Alessio or Costa Cortez, something of that nature, kind of a similar name. But we'll workshop that. One.
Get the writers on it.
For next week when we go over this whole fucking card again for everybody. And by the way, anybody complaining in the comment, I mean, I've just never seen a more entitled.
I've had as many complaints as I've had appreciation for it. Somebody in the Discord, DJ, shout out DJ. Hey, Mr. DJ, so fun your replay. He said he loved the new format. He was like, honestly, I don't even tell a difference because I listen to the podcast. I don't watch it.
Why would it make a difference if you watch it? I don't understand.
That's what I was like, for clarification,
we're going to do double the content and faster. And
I said that. I said
it's like, guys, when I set up the cameras and the microphones and the fucking
you don't have a microphone.
You don't have a microphone.
When I set up the lighting and the cameras and I get the beers and I get going with all these breakdowns, like I'm doing this for the people entirely. Like, do you guys like? I just wonder. Like, people are like, well, it's like Luke, you got. It's like I'm not asking you to watch it. A, and B, you're not giving me any money. So why, you weren't here when I started the show. That's my point. They weren't here when I started the show. Now they're here telling me what to do with my own show. Guys,
when Luke coaxed Dan and I into investing hundreds of dollars into equipment that he didn't issue himself. He just gave us our marching orders. We went out there, we did it. We got mixers, mics.
I didn't think you would do it. But here's the thing. I love doing the show, guys. I love being able to come on here and just give you guys my picks and win people money and win myself money and talk about the UFC and talk about Bert Kreischer and the Machine and Sebastian and Robert De Niro. This is a good time for us, but just like I get told what to do in every area of my life. I have children. I have a child. I have people dependents, right? People I'm accountable for. And
you really just said your partner was a child as well. You said I have children. that I.
I mean, it's pretty much, you know what I mean? Like out here, I'm feeding mouths, guys. I'm feeding mouths. I've been feeding these kids. And Alex, too, he's pretty much my child. I mean, it's like, I got, and, you know, Dan, he's dragging me all over Hell's Acre over his love. Like, that's the other thing. Like, this guy falls in love, and now I got to go to fucking Cooperstown. I got to go to fucking bumfuck PA. I'm going all over the place for this guy's love.
You still got to talk about Luke. You got to book your hotel, by the way. You got to book the hotel.
I'm gonna do it tonight.
Do not talk about Amish like that. Never talk about Amish like that again, dude. We're gonna be smoking fat doinks out in Amish.
I thought it was called Bumfuck, or is it Yoakum Town? What is it?
Is that a real question?
Yeah, in Pennsylvania, there's a place called Yoakum Town. Okay, so
there's Intercourse PA.
There's a lot of weird names in PA. My point is, guys, I have a lot of masters that I'm serving, and the people in the comment section that aren't in the beautiful Patreon.
Not your masters.
Can't be
not your masters.
Can't be one of you guys. Cannot be one of them. I will allow it. I mean, like I respond to the comments. I take it seriously. But it's like if I'm out here delivering more content, cheaper, easily available to you, full card breakdowns week after week, winning picks, $2,000 in the
sending out T-shirts to people who subscribe to the Patreon.
I sent a T-shirt. Yeah, I did. I sent the T-shirts. So
was that Gerald?
Shout out to Jerry, baby. Shout out to Jerry. Holding it down in the Philippines, holding it down in America by national man.
That's a big shipping charge.
I sent it to the U.S.
You made him come back for it.
No, I timed it when he was going to be stateside. So, shout out Jerry, repping the PvP. I really want to come to the Philippines, Jerry. If you can be my guide out there, let me come. I really want to go out there. I want to meet Manny.
Let me come.
I want to meet Manny Pacquiao.
You guys have minds in the gutters today, man. I'm just trying to break down some fights. You guys are making
the
everything
Philippines is a beautiful country, Alex. Okay, let's move on. So Costa. Who else is going Costa?
Question.
Who didn't go?
I already went Costa.
Oh yeah, I'll triple P certify this one. I'll go with Costa as well. Grappler's delight, Jimmy Flick. As Luke said, not really digging the retirement angle of this, so I'll take the younger guy who's got more finishes on the resume, seemingly. And again, he can match Flick as far as where this thing is going to go to the mat. So give me Costa, as they say.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom, but we trophy certified Torres.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So that will be. We have a lot of trophy certified picks.
Torres. Oh yeah.
All right, so next we got Teresa Bleda versus Fernandez. What do you guys think?
Sorry, writing down the timestamp because I can't stand to watch this show. I don't know how anybody can. We got Tarzana Bleda. Isn't this the chick who missed weight by like 8 pounds? Russian Ronda or whatever her name is? Ronda. Yeah, Ronda. Teresa. Yeah. Oh, wait, no. There's just another girl who kind of looks like Ronda Rousey who has donned the name Ronda as they go in there. That's crazy. Yeah.
That's literally like when I said I was going to fight and make my nickname Luke, Chuck the Iceman, Liddell. Like they're doing the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with neither. And we're going to have our first ever non-triple P certified pick on the show. I don't know, man. I mean, if you're looking up to Ronda Rousey, yeah, you got one armbar win. I don't see a lot more armbar wins. The game has changed. She's got a few ground and pound, a little TKO, a little rear naked here and there. Undefeated as an amateur, so I guess she might have a little bit more experience than Gabby Fernandez. Is this Marina Breno Silva? No, it's not. And then Jasmine Judaviscus. I mean, I guess I'll go with Gabby. I mean, I don't really know, man. I don't know who to go with. Dan, I don't know which way is up there. I don't know which way is down. Which way are you going with this? You've been a ladies' man lately.
I have been a ladies' man. I'm going with Teresa Bleda. Going in 8 years younger. Also taller, longer reach, coming off of a loss. So, but the loss was to Natalia Silva, who, as we all know now, is a fucking really good fighter. So I think that'll season her up nice for this Gabby Fernandez lady. Is this her first UFC fight here coming up?
Second. She lost to Jasmine Judaviscus.
Oh, that does not age well.
Judaviscus.
Not a great fighter. Yeah, I'm liking Teresa.
All right, I'm switching. I'm officially switching to Ronda.
Yeah. The math is mathin'.
Yeah, I'll go with Ronda too, but a fight I want nothing to do with betting. Okay.
It's settled.
Mateus Bukaukas is back, baby, after that win last time, and he's
say it like Amanda Hebes.
Mateus Bukaukas Modestus Bukaukas is fighting Zach Pauga. Okay, so yeah, Zach Pauga, we know him from The Ultimate Fighter. He got knocked out against Mo Usman in his only loss and his debut into our lives, his pro debut in the UFC. Then he went and beat the fuck out of Jordan Wright, but he, could have probably finished Jordan Wright, was a little lethargic in there, didn't fight for the kill, didn't win my next bet for sure. Sorry, I'm just getting the charger.
A mic would really remedy these.
That sparks, dude. I'm not going to take a break from that. Okay, so I'm going to go with Modestus Bukaukas here. Here in my respect, last time out, coming in there against Tyson Pedro, not an easy task. Got the win. Definitely faded him. Thought he was going to be knocked out by Tyson Pedro, not let alone beating Tyson Pedro. So got the win. Much more impressive than a decision win against Mr. Wright, and it was pretty much the same exact 1 week removed, almost the same card they fought on. Now, I do like that Pauga's at elevation, but overall, this fight takes place in Las Vegas. I don't really think it's going to matter. I think Bukaukas is just more of a veteran, and we'll be able to demonstrate that here. Give me Bukaukas.
Yep, you're speaking my language here. I'm going with Modestus Bukaukas as well. Haven't really liked what I've seen out of Pauga. Getting clipped by Muhammad Usman is definitely not a good look. It's one of the sloppiest strikers I've ever seen. And obviously, Jordan Wright. I mean, yeah, he got the win, but you got to finish Jordan Wright to get the respect. He took him to decision. That guy's got he's got a glass jaw for sure. Bukaukas, I can kind of justify all of his UFC losses here. Got knocked out from a sidekick to the knee from Khalil Roundtree. I think anyone would lose to that. Split decision to Michael Olajaychuk. That aged very well. And, Jimmy Crute on the up and up in his career. So I got to go with Bukaukas here. Not in love with this fight. Probably going to stay away from it for the most part, but I'll take Bukaukas. Why not?
Yeah, it's a Bukaki fest. Triple P certified Bukaukas here. I think that
God bless.
I think the guy who has a lot of experience is a younger fighter, way more experience than the older guy. Zach Pauga only has 6 fights. And let's be honest, guys, he's just a dumbass policeman who never went to college and was just being a police officer.
Back to the blue. Come on.
I back the blue, but in terms of fights, we have a few cops that fight, right? Trevin Giles sucks. Zach Pauga sucks. The hybrid, what's his name? The hybrid. The guy who fought Donald Cerrone to a draw.
Price. Nico Price is cop.
He used to be a cop.
Dude, it's so true. So many of the kids you went to high school with that you did crime with became cops. If you think about it.
And it's
like that guy for so many people, it seems. What's
the barrier for entry to become a police officer? You just got to get sprayed with mace? That's all I've heard. They just spray you with mace, and if you can handle that, they're like, all right, this guy's in. But listen, I respect the police. I have a lot of police friends who are actually very, very nice and very smart, but some are absolute morons. Okay.
Chris Dawkins, you forgot.
I was going to name him. And I was burying that lead because he dodged a bullet. Forrest Griffin, the man.
John
Smart.
McCarthy.
Idiot. All right, keep
Forrest
coming.
Griffin's fighting style was pretty idiotic.
I don't know. I think it was at a different time where you can get away with that. But
cut to the clip of him going in against Anderson Silva like this.
Yeah, I mean, that happened.
Throwing a javelin, him doing the shot put against Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Anderson like, are you serious? Oh, right, it's gonna be right here for me.
Dude, at that point though, I feel like Forrest just knew he was just like completely.
He would say that fight almost should be investigated, because even in the interviews before the fight, he was saying, he's like, the UFC was like, we need a big dumb guy to go in there and get knocked out by Anderson Silva to make the fans love him again. And I was like, all right, I'll do it.
But I think that Forrest Griffin, if you've ever read his book, Got Fight, great book. He is a very humorous guy. He has a lot of humor to him. He's like he would say that in retrospect, but he knows that he didn't get asked that question directly. You know what I mean?
He was no. He said he did get asked that question before the fight, and he did say that. He was joking, but I mean, there's truth in comedy. In Vino Veritas, Forrest Griffin's book, The Reason I Drink Cheap Beer to This Day. I mean, he had told that story about beer's an acquired taste, and if you're gonna drink beer, it might as well be a cheap beer.
That's why I started drinking the cheapest and warmest beer at all times, so I'm never unsatisfied. That's what he said. I think he was like, "I've been."
Stepdad would buy the biggest case of the cheapest beer, and it wouldn't fit in the fridge, so you'd keep it on the counter, and it would be warm because it wouldn't fit in the fridge. And then he told him, beer's an acquired taste, so you might as well acquire a cheap one.
Exactly. That's a good stepdad there.
On the spectrum of stepdads, it's a good one. Next, we got Honey Baloney. So we're going to trophy certify Mateus Bukaukas. It'll be the 7th trophy certified pick of the card so far. We are in alignment. And, when we're all right, like we were last weekend, when we won, we're in alignment. So there can only be one truth. So we're all sifting through to pursue the truth here.
Well, Luke's winnings come off of the back of Dan and I's labor. He just realizes that Dan and I are right a lot of the time.
You want to check the records? Because you did the worst last weekend, and I was already ahead of you. So you're in last place. I didn't crunch the numbers yet for this week. I thought we could just have a fun episode. But Honey Baloney taking on Miles Johns. I'm going Miles Johns all the fucking way here. Fortis MMA trained. Honey Baloney's older. Honey Baloney got knocked out 4 months ago. I'm taking Miles Johns to get the win by finish. Miles Johns for the win by finish. Miles Johns.
I'm a CLE. I know I bet on CLD earlier, but I'm a CLE. I'm a certified lover boy for Fortis MMA. I'm never going against Fortis MMA. I mean, I guess I shouldn't say never. I will sometimes go against Fortis MMA.
Cut to me months ago saying the word Safe Saud and you making fun of me and saying no one knows who Safe Saud is. Stop bringing up Safe Saud.
And you know what? I'm woke now. Honey Baloney is a guy who, yeah, he has some pretty good striking, but at the end of the day, he is willing to concede bottom position and go for submissions from his back, and that will, in the end, be leading to his demise. I honestly think that this is one of the easiest cards we've ever seen, fellas. Like this one, I think it's open and shut case.
Interesting. Dan, are you going to trophy certify the 4th in a row on the prelims?
Nope. I'm going Hani Barcelos. Got to go with my man here. Miles Johns throws these wide hooks, a little bit sloppy, a little bit reckless, whereas Barcelos is more straight down the middle, right up the gut. Straight rights, all that good stuff. Jabs. Much more cleaner, much more technical in his striking. I don't think it's going to go to the mat. Miles Johns, I think he does have some wrestling in his back pocket, but this is a guy who likes to swing for the fences, and I think Barcelos is going to capitalize on that and probably take it to decision, I'd say. Hani Barcelos by decision.
All right.
If it goes to decision, Hani Barcelos is losing, by the way. That was the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Like, I don't know. I mean, no, that is probably his path to victory. I mean, what's he going to do? He's not going to submit him.
He's either going to knock Miles Johns out, or he's going to concede bottom position for the whole entire fight, and Miles Johns is just going to rain terror from the top. Which brings us to our next fight. The Ukrainian Denis Bondar versus Carlos Hernandez.
Denis Bondar winless in the UFC thus far against his debut opponent, Malcolm Gordon, KO, verbal submission, arm injury. That's what Tapologists listed as over a year and 3 months ago. So, that's going to be interesting because it has that you got to say, hey, fluke, bad taste in his mouth. He's a psycho. Going back, sitting on the shelf for a year and a half could be good for him. Coming back in with all that pent up energy, he's taken on another win. He has one split decision win. Controversial split decision win against Victor Altamirano. I remember that one well. He won, again, his Contender Series fight by split decision and then lost to Alan Nascimento by rear naked choke 4 months ago. So I'm interested in Denis Bondar here. I like that he's got a bad taste in his mouth, something to prove. Fighting isn't, a lot of people want to say about like Tim Elliott, right? Fighting isn't when everything's going right. Fighting begins when you face what?
Adversity.
So Tim Elliott facing adversity and fighting through it. He fought the fight before the fight. That's why when you see a guy miss weight, it's a big indicator, right? It's like he tried to do something and he failed. That's all I really need to know about somebody, right? How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you are not even able to fucking beat yourself, you're not even able to just not eat, not drink, sit in a hot room, the end. Simple as that. Mental fucking shit. You can't do that. I'm looking down on you already, and I'm giving you a second look when it comes to fight time. Now, if you're Paulo Costa, alpha sigma male, like you did with Marvin Vettori, I'm giving you a second look for other reasons. I'm going, all right, well, that's a different kind of game he's playing, but you get what I'm saying.
Hamzat, Paulo Costa is the fight to make. That's the only fight to make. Those are two sigmas on the grind.
Yeah, like one's going to miss weight and the other's going to weigh in at the weight class below. And it's going to be like, whoa. The fight can't even happen. I'm just like, brother, I thought it 170, brother. I cut all this weight. And like, you weighed in at 176. He's like, I cut all this weight, brother. I smashed this guy anyway, brother. Like, he weighs 220 pounds. You weigh 176. We can't make the fight. They're like, brother, put me in, brother. I fight Brock Lesnar, brother.
Because that is where Sigma meets Sigma, where Marvin Vettori kept asking Paulo Costa his weight. He's like, well, how much do you weigh? How much do you weigh? And Paulo Costa's like, why do you care about another man's weight? Hamzat Chimaev doesn't give a shit.
Why do you ask this weight? Wait. Dude, that was the best. Like, I watch that video to get inspired sometimes. On how
I do as well.
How to negotiate.
I watched it last week.
To get what I want out of life.
I watched it last week. Sometimes it's like the great Chael P. Sonnen once said, you don't answer questions, you field questions.
I say that every day.
I've never lost.
Wait, we gotta play that full clip. Hold on.
I've never lost, but I've also never been injured. It's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
I've also never been injured. It's one of those things.
I think in terms of this fight, if Denis Bondar was really all that tough, he'd be called to the front lines like the Klitschko's. He wouldn't be fighting.
They even call little boy fucking
Lomachenko.
Little Loma over there. They even call little Loma to snipe or something.
So the fact that he's fighting in this,
he had an arm injury, dude. He was a conscientious objector.
All right, fair enough. He did have an arm injury due to Malcolm Gordon, who has like 1 or 2 fights in the UFC. Carlos Hernandez, at least he's fought a couple of game opponents in Alan Nascimento and Victor Altamirano. I'm not going to be heavy on this fight at all. I'll be honest. This is probably going to be the first fight I strip from my PPP certified or, my perfect parlay to get the most confident fights I have. This is the first one off the books. I'm not even going to bet this for 1 second. But I'm
going to the bucket of not enough data on either. Not enough data in the terms of the performances you've seen out of Hernandez, split decisions, not enough data. And Hernandez going to split decision with Altamirano. It tells me one thing, Alex. he couldn't do what Tim Elliott did, which is easily, like a hot knife through butter, take him down. Alton Moreno has no takedown defense.
None. Zero. He folded like a chair.
Elbow on the bottom, but he doesn't fucking defend shit.
Folded like a chair. Folded like a chair as soon as his legs got grabbed. Even when he was coming on late. But I don't know. Something about this. I just think Carlos Hernandez wins this fight. This doesn't look like much of a psycho to me. His picture on Tapology is him with two beautiful little boys and a wife or his mom, either one of the two. You know, we got to think. This is not a psycho. He has children. He is not a psycho. You can call yourself a psycho as much as you'd like. But if you see this smile on his face with these boys, it's like a very heartwarming picture. This is not one that a psycho would have unless you're American Psycho, Christian Bale. I'm going with Carlos Hernandez. I don't know why. I got a wild hair up my ass. I just think Carlos Hernandez wins this fight. He's fought better competition.
Psycho killer.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of data on either of these guys, and the data that we do have indicates that neither of them are all that good. So, hate this fight. Definitely not one I've really want all that much investment on. I'll go with Bondar just because I feel like there might be some grappling, some cage control going on here. Carlos Hernandez just doesn't really offer up all that much offense. I remember from the fights that we saw. Probably durable, so I'll say this is an overplay, over 2.5. But as far as a pick, we'll go with Bondar.
No, I love that. That's the play. Hani Lawrence taking on Daniel Argueta. Daniel Argueta, to me, is a pandemic kind of hangover, right? I mean, I think
he was from The Ultimate Fighter, but
mostly his number got called a lot during the pandemic. Would you agree? I mean, I'm looking right.
Who did he fight?
He fought in 2019 in Combate. He fought in 2020 in LFA. He lost on the Ultimate Fighter against Ricky Tercios. Went back to LFA, and then came in. So he came in.
But that was the season he was the number one pick, and Ricky Turkwa.
Okay, I'm misremembering Daniel Argueta. I'm thinking of, you know who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of
Brady Highstamp.
No. I'm thinking of somebody from the pandemic era. Anyway.
Someone else with a big ass.
CJ Vergara.
Nope. I would know who I'm thinking of. I would know. Who's the guy?
Well, you don't.
Maybe I'm thinking of De La Rosa, but I don't think I am. I think I'm thinking of somebody else. Either fucking way. He had his debut against Damon Jackson.
Montana?
I believe the Damon Jackson fight, if I go back and look, yep, it was short notice. Minner was the original opponent to fight Damon Jackson. Guys, this is why you watch the fucking show. I'm going in and doing deep dives for you. I'm telling you, yes, Daniel Argueta lost 2-1 Damon Jackson, but Daniel Argueta was a late notice replacement for one Derek Minner. Derek Minner, who is now, I believe, a part of an investigation. So we'll get into that later. But there was trickery afoot. He came back in against Nick Arkwire, an undefeated guy at the time, and he beat him. So what do we do here? Ricky Turquoise, exhibition bout in the Ultimate Fighter house. You got to write that one off. You got to say these guys were away from their family, away from their normal camp, in a fucking fighter house, fighting exhibitions. Just throw that one away. Damon Jackson, short notice. Throw that one away. This guy's undefeated, okay? Hani Lawrence, 8-2. Now let's look at his losses. Saidjakub Kakramanov, elite fighter, great fighter. Steve Garcia, serviceable enough guy who at the time was 6-1 to Hani Lawrence's 3-0. So this is a case where, you got two guys who have lost decisions against fights that you can kind of look at with a deeper microscope and go, these are serviceable guys who can get it done when it needs to be. This is going to be a really close fight. It's going to be people's prelim fight of the night, the people's prelim main event, right? Like this is like guys who've been there, done that, Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, going to war. When you look at the Contender Series versus Ultimate Fighter has certainly produced more champions historically, but the Contender Series, you got guys like Joe Pyfer, you got guys like Kevin Holland, you got guys like, I think, who's the guy who was the Contender Series O'Malley. He'll be fighting for a title. Very, very, very tough fight. I'm going to go with Daniel Argueta. I really liked his grit against Damon Jackson. He fought, he lost, but he tried. I'm going to go with, in a close fight, I'm going to go with Argueta. But I think, again, just like the last fight, I think the over. If you can get over 1.5, I think that's great. I think over 2.5 at 125, 135, over 1.5, over 2.5. I think it's, in these cases, I think it's a good play.
Going the opposite way, going with Ronnie Lawrence. I feel like both these guys are pretty similar wrestling foundations with big overhand rights, that kind of style. Someone that Conor McGregor would tear up, just like Michael Chandler coming up. We'll see if that fight even happens. Anyway,
Conor in that one. I guess that's a spoiler. You're going to pick Conor in that one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As far as this fight goes, I'll take the guy who's not training at Jackson Wink. And I think that's all you need to know to get a successful outcome on this fight. I'll take Ronnie Lawrence. Great tune-up fight as far as Kakramanov going in that last one. He got a hell of a workout in that. Took it all the way, all 15 minutes. I feel like he's going to come back a better version of himself after that fight. If you can survive Kakramanov, this fight will be a breeze for him. So it could be Ronnie Lawrence.
John Jones had Greg Jackson in his corner when he dismantled.
Maurice Green had Greg Jackson in his corner. And they were drinking buddies.
Burn.
Greg
And they were
Jackson,
twisting each other's nipples.
what say you?
Oh, I say Daniel Argueta. Sorry, I thought you were going to pontificate there a little bit. I'm gonna go with Daniel Argueta here. I just think the wrestling is gonna be too much. I mean, we are shortly removed from the time where he was the number one pick on the Ultimate Fighter. A very uncomfortable situation to fight in. You're fighting a few times in a week. You're sparring against guys that you will have to fight in the future, so that could get a little cagey. And then you have Damon Jackson on short notice, the Leech. Although he hasn't had the best few fights as of late, Damon Jackson is a guy that if you get him on short notice, he's definitely game to fight for 3 rounds. You might not be. I'm going to go with Daniel Argueta here. I just think the wrestling in the gas tank is going to hold up. Ronnie Lawrence doesn't have the body that one Ricky Turquoise does, that Damon Jackson has. I think he might struggle with these longer guys. The heat, the MMA heat, shout out to Karen Bryant. It's not going to be enough.
All right. 2 for Argueta, 1 for Lawrence. We'll go on to Kang Mr. Perfect, taking on Christian El Problema Quinonez. So the problem, 135-pound match, 8-year age gap. All I need to see really in the lower weights, you don't get better as you get older. 35-year-old taking on a 28-year-old. Love it. I think Quinonez has got a lot of momentum coming off the Contender Series. Dana White certainly wants to see him win. I think it's all the momentum in the favor of Quinonez here. Easy pick for me. I think he's younger, sleeker, knockout power. Kang's a decision machine. Sure, it could be a safe fight. Kang could win a decision, but I think you either go over, you get better odds. I don't know what Kang's odds are actually, but go over if you think Kang is going to get the win, or you go Quinonez possibly by knockout.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Problema as well. Has yet to see a loss in the UFC, although he's only fought once in the UFC, once in the Contender Series, where Kang seems like a doctor-to-doctor segment in Check It Out with Dr. Stephen Brule. Now we're interviewing Kang. You know what I mean?
Name of Kang.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm sure I've made that joke before. We've seen him fight quite a few times since the pandemic.
Plus 148 dog, Kang.
Yeah. I think that's well matched. I think you're getting great odds on Christian Quinonez. I think he's going to go out there and make quick work of this. Neither have wrestling. Neither of these guys will wrestle at all.
Yeah, I'll triple P certify Quinonez El Problema. Yeah.
La Problema. You know anything about the Spanish language?
It's
You
actually
think
No,
just
I
that?
Problema. It's actually just Problema.
But I was just saying,
True.
you know,
I put in
the,
the
you
L.
know,
I
it's,
put in the L because that's actually proper Spanish, and I even take Spanish, and I know that. I'll take this fella. Kang is like one of these guys. He's kind of like when I was talking about Chris Duncan before, he was actually not even fighting. Guy who seems to do everything kind of okay, pretty well, but nothing's really popping off the page here. Whereas Quinonez, I feel like has much more of a killer instinct, and he's coming off some good momentum with that first UFC fight and a finish at that first round finish. So I think he's feeling good going into this one, and I don't think Kang is going to pose much of an issue. So give me Quinonez.
Perfect. Next up, we have Felipe Bunes versus Zalgas Zhumagulov. Luke, what do you think about this one?
Skip, pass. I'm kidding. No, I got you. Initial read is Zhumagulov. He's pesky, hard to get away, hard to get out of there. Really persistent, and he's taking on a newcomer. So already that puts him in a very low win category. Now, Zhumagulov back-to-back split decision losses, but against decent competition. Jeff Molina, the kind of incumbent of that division prospect. Charles Johnson, obviously somebody who is disappointed at us lately, but overall somebody who has performed serviceably.
Took out your favorite fighter, Jerome Rivera.
Who did?
Yeah,
that
was Lukey's boy for a while.
That was his last win, and I was heavy on Jerome that time as an underdog there. So I think that it's tough, right? Objects in motion stay in motion. Objects in rest stay at rest. This guy's lost 3 in a row, but 2 of them were split decisions. He's been competitive. This other guy's a newcomer. I think if the fight goes later, it favors Zhumagulov just based on ring, octagon jitters, shit like that. But also, it's like this guy's taller. He's longer. He's got something to prove. He's fighting with the Pitbull brothers. He's had experience in LFA. He's had experience with guys who are champions in Bellator and all that. So it might be a good opportunity to catch a newcomer at some dog odds in a fight that you wonder in hindsight, why did I pick a guy coming off 3 straight losses with 8 total losses? But they're similar ages. This guy has 6 losses, and it hasn't been in the UFC. Let's just say that, right? At least 4 of this guy's 8 losses that I can see right now are in the UFC against elite competition. So I'm going to go with Zhumagulov. Those dark, sunken eyes are absolutely terrifying, and he's a psycho, more so than Dennis Bondar. So give me Zhumagulov, double Z.
Black eyes like Adele's eyes. I'm going with Zalgas Zhumagulov as well. As Luke said, he has just far higher level of competition that he's been fighting against. And I think the wrestling will get it done. We see Zalgas win a lot of rounds. One thing we have to worry about is the endurance, the gas tank. We got to make sure that he has enough in him. But you're fighting Almir Albazi, Manel Cobb, Jeff Molina, Charles Johnson. That doesn't age as well. Julian Pieva. Those are a high level of competition, far higher than one Felipe Bunes has had. And this guy, Zalgas Zhumagulov, he's been trying to fight, guys. He had a Nate Maness injury in, May. And then the second guy who was going to fight him the same exact night, Rafael Estevam, botched weight cut. So he's had a lot going on. He's been in camp. Could this be a situation where
Dan is sleeping or doing cocaine?
Could this be a situation where he's been in a camp for far too long and his body just can't handle it and he gets broken down by Felipe Bunes? Could be. Not going to be too heavy on it. It's the first fight of the night. But I think Zalgas Zhumagulov will get it done. He's been ready. He's been prepared, and he's fought a way higher level of competition.
Sorry, I was watching one of my favorite Instagram channels, steak videos. This guy's making steak.
I mean, this guy, Double Z, he beat Tajir Ulanbekov, which, lost to Tim Elliott, but beat Alan Nascimento, Bruno Silva, and some other guys. So I don't know. I'm not going to be too heavily invested in this, but I think Double Z has it.
I'm going to be heavily invested on Double Z, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, the king of the split robbery. This guy's been in some wars where he's been, in my mind, on the winning end of them. Hasn't gotten the nod. I think in a matchup like this, the UFC is finally throwing him a bone in a stylistic matchup that favors him. Someone that's not completely overpowering, just a better fighter than him. So I think he's getting a bit of a bone thrown his way. He's got the curtain jerker for the card here. Zhalgas is the man. He's going to put it on him, and I think it's going to be a nice way to start off a winning afternoon.
Perfect. All right, now to go through my final picks of the evening, unless Luke wants to go through his now that he's back.
Thank you.
I'll take you through it. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, Christian Quinonez, Quinonez, Daniel Argueta, Carlos Hernandez, Miles Johns, Modestas Bukaukas, Teresa Bleda, Alessandro Costa, Pat Sabatini, Christian Leroy Duncan, Manuel Torres, Muslim Salikhov, Arman Tsarukyan, and ending it with Marvin Vettori.
Well, we have a very big Trophy certified week for you. If you want to know my picks, starting off Zhalgas Zhumagulov, first fight of the night. Christian Quinonez, followed by Daniel Argueta, Dennis Bondar, the one pick Alex and I differ on, actually. So if you want to know my picks, they're the same as Alex's, except Dennis Bondar is the one I'm taking. He's taking Carlos Hernandez. It's going to be a close fight. Again, me and Alex are pretty much lockstep in motion, but so is Dan. We have a lot of Trophy certified picks. So Dennis Bondar, Miles Johns, Modestas Bukaukas, Teresa Bleda, Alessandro Costa, Pat Sabatini, Christian Duncan, Manuel Torres, Muslim Salikhov, Arman Tsarukyan, and Marvin Vettori at the top. Dan, take it away.
All right, let's pull up the fights here. We got, starting at the top, Marvin Vettori, Arman Tsarukyan, Christian Duncan, Lucas Almeida, Manuel Torres, Nicholas Dalby, Hani Barcelos, Alessandro Costa, Christian Quinonez. Oh, who did I even pick on this one? Dennis Bondar, I guess. That one is not a good fight. Zhalgas Zhumagulov, Teresa Bleda, Ronnie Lawrence, and Modestas Bukaukas.
All right, and the Trophy certified picks from bottom to the top. We're all starting off lockstep. First two, ZZ, Zhalgas Zhumagulov, and Christian Quinonez. Then we move through the prelims. Next Trophy certified pick is Modestas Bukaukas, followed by Teresa Bleda and Alejandro Costa. Then we got CLD, Christian Duncan, Manuel Torres, Arman Tsarukyan, and Marvin Vettori. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 total Triple P certified picks for you. And if you want,
and Luke, I have a message. Before we get to the Patreon, link that everybody has heard us say a gazillion times. You in the comments who are complaining about the new format that we're not breaking down the fights the week of the fight. Do you realize that we will only break down 5 of those fights the week of the fight? Maybe those are the only 5 fights you watch, but you're getting an extra 7 picks some weeks, 8 picks other weeks. You're getting a lot more value for this. So shut the fuck up, enjoy the show, and subscribe to patreon.com/perfectparlaypursuit. If you want to get our final thoughts on every single one of these, we're switching over to the Patreon right now, and we're going to give you our final thoughts on Amanda Nunes versus who?
Irene Aldana. UFC 289, final thoughts in the Patreon right now, going live, breaking down the whole card yet again. If you want to know what's going on this week, join the Patreon. If you want to get prepared for 2 weeks from now, there you go. We got the episode for you right here. And if you want to just go and see what our initial thoughts were on Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana, UFC 289, that episode is there. Full card, top to bottom, main card, and prelims. All predictions listed. We're just going to go through it again for the Patreon audience right now. If you want to join, $100 for the year, gets you in. I made everybody $2,000 last week. It's fucking happening. I love you.